vino spumeggiante, nel bicchiere scintillante, come il riso dell'amante, mite infonde il giubilo.
Another summer, sound of the funky drummer. This is King Your Heart. Y'all give us what we want. Y'all give us what we want.
Okay, now I'm going to explain this music, which is going to be accompanying our trip down to the seaside. I found this tape that I made under the passenger seat the other day, and I mixed it in 1989 or thereabouts, which is when this song came out, Fight the Power, and I don't think that Public Enemy would consider it to be very appropriate. But for me it's good, because this car was made in 1989, and the first summer I spent in Italy was in 89. So we're going to have an interesting music accompaniment to the day. We're going down to Orbetello, and we're going to meet with Bruna. She is the mother of Nicola, who has a really nice restaurant in Sorano, which is called the Ottava Lima. And she's going to make for us today Panzanella and Acquacotta. These were two poor men's dishes that were very commonly made in summer, and they were made with bread, and primarily with bread. And vegetables in the case of Panzanella. And Acquacotta was a cooked dish made with egg. Ironically, we're going down to the seaside, and she's going to be preparing us these dishes, which were much more common in the interior, where Sorano is. And then tonight we're going to go back to Sorano and go to her son's restaurant, the Ottava Lima, and eat them. But after we go to Orbetello, we're going to visit with my friend Ben on Monte Argentario. He has a lovely villa at the seaside, and we're going to go for a swim. Ben is also a, shall we say, a connoisseur of prosciutto. So we're going to eat some prosciutto and drink some prosecco and sit in his lovely place. Generally have a good time. We're taking the road down from Sorano to Orbetello, which is probably about 45 kilometers, but as the crow flies, only about 30 kilometers, so as you can tell, it's a very windy road. We've just driven through Pitigliano on our way down to the seaside.
And where you stay looks like one great big alleyway. You'll admire all the number book takers, thugs, pimps, and bitches, and the big money makers. Driving big cars, spending 20s and 10s, and you want to grow up to be just like them.
We've just come down into the Maremma, from the Alta Maremma, which is where Sorano is, the hills above the Maremma. The Maremma is a plain that's famous because of spaghetti westerns. But it's also really the breadbasket of Italy to some degree. At times it was a pestilential bog, and people have died because of malaria. Some of the Medici have died. Even Caravaggio died of malaria, the great painter. Porto Ercole, which is on Monte Argentario, which is the second of our destinations today. The last person to have cleared the marshes of the Maremma was Mussolini. Put in a canal system, and so it's become a very verdant and productive area. He also made lots of nice straight roads down here, so we're out of the curvy bits of the Alta Maremma and down in the straight plains. Watch the road! Watch the road! We're coming into Orbitello, which is built basically on a lagoon. And we're just heading over to Bruna's place.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, benvenuti.
Grazie.
Grazie.
So we're here with Bruna, and we're going to do some a couple of things with Bruna this morning, and let's go in and see what we can get up to.
Okay, great. Che bello!
Facciamo la panzanella con peperoni, cetriolo, pomodori, sedano e cipolla rossa.
Do you want to translate that, Sean?
Okay, so we're going to make panzanella, which is a traditional
Questi sono gli
Tuscan bread salad with
Peperoni.
capsicums,
Pomodori,
tomatoes,
cipolla rossa,
red onions,
sedano,
celery,
cetriolo.
and
Citriolo.
cetriolo,
Perfetto.
cucumber,
E pane duro, raffermo.
Pane duro.
stale bread.
Yeah, good. And Tuscan bread becomes stale
Tuscan
very
bread.
quickly
Very
because
quickly.
it's made without salt.
Che sarà condito col sale, olio, aceto e un po' di pepe.
So
Benissimo.
it's then dressed with oil, vinegar, salt and pepper. Something quite simple but very very traditional, very delicious to have in the summer.
Invece questi altri ingredienti sono quelli che servono per fare l'acqua cotta.
La cipollata.
O cipollato,
Il
come
cipollato.
lo chiamano qui.
Which is another traditional
Summer.
Tuscan dish,
Yeah.
and also made with bread. So
E qui abbiamo
these Bruna.
sedano ancora,
Okay.
porri, quelli lì sono,
Leeks,
cipolla
Leeks.
rossa,
red onions,
cipolla bianca,
white onions,
cipolla gialla
yellow
e
onions,
scalogno
and
Shallots.
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 Right.
e pomodoro.
And tomato.
Tomato sauce. Great.
Okay.
So we'll get to work.
Okay.
La prossima mossa è il sedano.
So we chop up the celery.
Grazie.
Faccio assistente.
Sì.
Tagli anche abbastanza grande.
Sì, tanto cuoce poi, deve cuocere lentamente a lungo.
Okay, so they can be cut quite large because it's going to take a long time to cook because it has to cook quite slowly.
Invece ho scoperto che se metto vari tipi di cipolla viene più gradevole il sapore e anche più morbido.
Okay, so we're making an acquacotta, but as it's known around here, it's called cipollato. Cipolla is onion, and it was normally made with only one type of onion, but Bruna has discovered that it's better with various types of onions. So she's putting in leeks and various colored onions, and that's all for the better.
Questo è lo scalogno.
Shallots in inglese.
So now we've got the all of the ingredients in the pan, and we're sweating them down slowly. We don't want them to take on any color, and this is going to take a little while.
Okay, so while those veggies are cooking up for the acquacotta, the cipollato, Bruna is going to begin slicing up the vegetables for the panzanella. And we begin with the red pepper.
Capsicum. The celery, we're just using the very inner part, the heart of the celery, not the outer
La parte più
sticks.
tenera.
The tenderest tenderest
Yeah, it's
tenderest
okay.
part.
Now we're adding the wine
Some white wine.
for the cipolato. Back to the cipolato now.
We're going to let the wine reduce all the way down, and then when that's done, then we're going to add the tomatoes.
Ci abbiamo messo mezza cipolla, mezzo peperone, una costa intera di sedano, un pomodoro, ci possiamo aggiungere anche un altro, mezzo cetriolo.
So that's for 2 people. Sean, what was included in that?
Okay, so we've got a half a cucumber, a quarter of a pepper, almost a whole onion, and we're going to have 2 tomatoes in there as well.
And 1 piece of celery, right?
1 celery stalk as well.
Stalk.
A hard job. I have to cut the really stale bread.
Metà a metà.
Metà.
We need stale bread for the panzanella because all these vegetables are going to soften the bread.
Never have the bottom of the bread facing up. It's a very, very traditional thing in Tuscany. Bread should always be facing the right way up, otherwise it brings bad luck.
Pancia all'aria mai.
Okay.
Ora me lo tagli a metà, per favore.
Così?
Sì.
Okay.
Non ho preso con la pasta.
Adesso, now we're soaking the bread in water, and Bruna was explaining before that what they would... Va bene, dimmi.
Questo sostituisce l'acqua del fiume, dove la mettevano appunto, dove mettevano il pane nei cesti a bagnarsi con l'acqua corrente.
A Sorano facevano così,
Sorano.
giù alla lente.
Giù alla lente.
So what Bruna's saying is that what they did in the past is the farmers would go and soak the bread in the river and leave a container with the vegetables also running in the clean water of the river. And there she is giving it a good squeeze so it will soak up even more water and the vegetable juices. So in Italian it's sbriciolare, but I asked her.
Bruna's great description was we're turning it from big to small.
Rendere da grande a piccolo.
Non lo so.
Yeah?
That's the way it is.
We have an abundance of vegetables, but in the past there wouldn't have been so many vegetables and more bread than anything else. So bread was the essential component to most meals, and this is definitely what you would call companatico, with bread.
Some vinegar.
Poor people would rely mostly upon bread.
Ci va nel senso che io ci metto.
Okay.
So she puts in as much as it seems appropriate. Pepper, we've added the oil.
And vinegar.
And vinegar.
Yeah.
What, just a little
Just a splash.
splash of vinegar. Into the vegetables.
Direi sono più verdure che pane, in effetti ce ne va anche un'altra cosa.
Ci vuole più pane allora. So we
E piatto ricco.
piatto
Invece del
ricco.
povero.
So this is a plate for a rich
Ora è un
person.
piatto ricco, sì.
So that is it, finished, the panzanella. And Bruna is certainly very qualified to be able to make this traditional Tuscan dish. She wasn't born in Sorano, but her parents both were, and they subsequently moved down to Orbitello. Ma tu hai imparato questo piatto dalla tua mamma o dalla tua...
mia mamma
e la nonna?
Io l'ho elaborato.
Sì.
Sì. Questi 2 piatti dalla mamma, sì, e la mamma dalla nonna.
So both of these you learned from your mother, and you changed them to suit your taste. Just say yes.
Slightly.
Yes.
Now we're back to the cipolato, and Bruna's adding the tomato sauce. Okay, so the panzanella is finished, and that we will be having later on. And the acquacotta, the cipolato, is cooking away, and it's going to continue to cook for some time.
Several hours.
Several hours. So what we're going to do now, Sean and I, is we're going to go up to Monte Argentario and have a swim. We're going to leave Bruna here in Orbetello. And then we're all going to gather later this evening back in Sorano at Bruna's son's restaurant. And that's when we're going to eat these two wonderful dishes, the panzanella and the acquacotta.
Excellent. Bruna, grazie.
Tutto, grazie a voi. Ci vediamo più tardi.
Sì, ci vediamo più
Dai un
tardi.
altro bacio.
I baci ci stanno.